Power 105.1.
An iHeart radio station.
Yo, what up, baby? DJ Sus won the feature presentation. I'm in the building. I got my guy in the building, and he got something to promote, so we're going to talk about it. My brother Angelo,
yes,
who represents the 914, and my guy E-Man Music, who represents the Yonkers 914.
Yes, sir.
Angelo reps Rye, New York.
Uh-huh.
And E-Man represents Yonkers, New York.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? I'm from Greenburgh, New York. DJ Sus won, and we're going to talk about it. So, Angelo.
Yes, sir.
Let's start with you. You have a podcast platform, correct?
Yes.
So talk about that a little bit.
So I run the #1 podcast network in Westchester County, the Polymaf Network.
Mm-hmm.
It's where
Say it again.
Polymaf Network.
Polymaf. That's M-A-F. Poly M-A-F.
Yes, it's a play on words. Polymaf is another word for a jack of all trades. So what I do is people from my hometown and from Westchester County, they reach out to me saying they want to start a podcast and they're not really sure how to get started. So they reach out to me and I make sure that they get their episodes done. And that includes getting their clips for social media, getting their audio out on all streaming platforms, and getting the full interviews on YouTube.
Well, before we get into the platform, because I want to dig into that, explain to me why you started the platform and explain to me what made you want to keep it at home in the Westchester circle.
Right. Well, what got me started is, I worked with podcasts at the highest level. I do work with you. I've done work.
That is the highest level. You're absolutely correct.
I've done work with Charlemagne, iHeart podcast.
That's okay. No, stop.
All that.
Charlemagne, I love you.
So I have the knowledge and the expertise and the experience working with podcasts. And, E-Man has been my friend for 10 years plus. And it brings me joy to use this expertise and knowledge and bring it down to like a local level to work with my friends.
Nice.
Yeah.
So E-Man Music, you're from Yonkers.
Yes, sir.
So what do you have to do with this whole entire conglomerate right here? And how did you and Angelo link up?
How did we link up? So I co-own a studio in Westchester, Digital Music Studio, and Angelo would pop up with his camera. And I got the pleasure of seeing him go from like, Mr. Let me walk in the room and see what I can do, to putting people on and putting people in position. So he has the opportunity to, get with guys like you, take that knowledge, and now he's trying to bring that to Westchester.
Nice.
So now with the studio, we got a little spot in there. It's a little podcast studio. He's getting, people who have aspirations to start their own podcast, getting them in the building, getting them set up with the right camera equipment. That's kind of why he started Polymaf.
Shout out to Greenleaf Studios too for letting us use your studio to record.
And
nice.
just trying to put people on.
Nice. And to co-sign Angelo a little bit, for anybody watching this, if you see any of my videos from my Dinner the Movie episodes or any edited reels or anything on my Instagram page, most of the time on my YouTube page, for the past, I would say since the pandemic, right? Since the pandemic, Angelo's been editing all that for me. So he's very good at what he does. So if you're looking for that type of work, go hit Angelo. But also, if you need a podcast studio, now he's your guy. And you got a live event coming up as well, right?
Yeah, so like I said, I produce 5 podcasts under the Polymaf Network. And we've been recording behind the camera for, Real Uncomfortable has been going on for 2 years plus.
Just about.
And, we're getting a platform and an opportunity for these podcasts to perform live. We're selling tickets, and it's an opportunity to put money back in the podcasters' pockets.
Nice.
But, yeah.
Yo, so right now, of course, we're at iHeart Studios right now, who's the biggest in the podcast game. And I know you're doing the podcast with your network. Where can we find these podcast episodes that you're recording at your studios and on your network?
Right. So, the podcasts are on all streaming platforms, but you definitely want to check it out on iHeart Media and the iHeart app. So,
nice.
Yeah.
Now talk about this live event.
So yes, Yonkers Brewery, a Westchester-based podcast network, so it's only right to do the live show in Westchester County at Yonkers Brewery. It's going to be a movie. It's going to be a party. It's going to be everything. It's a 2-hour open bar, like a cocktail hour. Well, we could say a cocktail 2 hours. It's going to be an open bar. It's going to be DJ'd by DJ Drop, who's actually a childhood friend of mine from the neighborhood, and he does huge gigs all around New York, and hosted by Kami Gomez.
Nice.
As well, yeah.
Shout out to Kami. I know Kami. Now, in this event, do you believe that you and alcohol will have a professional atmosphere for 2 hours straight with liquor around?
So
yes or no?
So
yes
me
no
personally, I'm gonna take it easy. I know I gotta try run a show, but I'm hoping that our guests drink a little and want to become interactive during the episode and not shy and aren't too shy to volunteer and raise their hand and be part of the show.
All right, cool. Not because my experience with Angelo with alcohol, he
gets a
starts
little crazy. No,
dancing
I'm
on the
with you.
stage at the end of the night. But anyway, so how do you guys pick the creators that you want, to work with? Because I'm sure there's a ton of people that approach you guys. Are you guys picky? Or is it open arms to anybody who reps 914?
Well, when it comes to Polymaf, I like to work with people that I know. Also on the podcast network, I have my boy Spanx, who does Nothing's Normal podcast. We're like good friends, and the DGXM podcast, which stands for Don't Gotta Explain Myself podcast, with my boy Rock. It's an Albanian-based podcast, and we've been friends since before the pandemic. I used to shoot music videos for him, so I kind of have a tight bond with all the podcast hosts on the network. So there's like a level of trust when I'm not really working with strangers right now.
Cool.
Yeah.
So it's more people that you're friends with and that you could see have talent,
and they can see the vision, because I'm not all the way up there yet podcast wise, but I'm getting there and I'm working on it, and it makes it a lot easier and a lot less stressful when you're working with people that can see the vision.
Nice. I like to hear it. Now, E-Man, you own a studio.
Yes, sir.
And it's not just a podcast studio.
No, it's a recording studio.
Nice. So how can people reach out to you if they want studio time?
Straight on Instagram, Mixed by E-Man Music. I answer all my DMs. I'm horrible at texting, so don't text me. Just hit me on the DMs.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we work with artists all around the tri-state, Connecticut, the city, Jersey. Just getting busy.
Nice. And you can do podcasts there.
Yes.
And you guys have this podcast space.
Yes, sir.
You guys are killing it out here.
Yeah.
One step at a time.
Yeah.
Now, besides the business, I have to do this because we all, from repping the 914, shout out to my brother Tone VIP Lopez, who's in the studio as well. He represents the 914.
Yes, sir.
We all in here represent 914 on some level. So what is it that you could tell people who might not have been outside the boroughs or is not from New York in general about the 914? You know, when you think Yonkers, before you guys answer, when you think Yonkers, you got to think DMX, you got to think Mary J. Blige, you got to think the Locks. You know what I'm saying? When you think 914, you got to think Mount Vernon, who brought us people like Heavy D.
Yes.
Rye Playland.
Right, yo, you laughing. I used to work at Rye Playland when I was a kid, but Rye Playland was also, shout out to Rye. Rye Playland was in the Mariah Carey. Anybody who listens to this, Mariah Carey's DJ, and her very famous song Fantasy, the video was recorded at Rye Playland. Yeah. So there's some culture there. You know what I'm saying?
Yep, with Tom Hanks.
Oh, yeah, and the movie Big with Tom Hanks. You're correct.
Yep.
So what if you had to tell people about 914 coming in? And 914 is more than Mount Vernon and Yonkers. It's Greenburgh, it's White Plains, it's New Rochelle, it's Mount Vernon, like I said. It's
Rowan Harmon.
You know, it goes way up north. There's great areas. There's the hoods. There's, you know, different things. But what can you guys say about it?
Nah, for me, I would say it's just a mixture of things. You could kind of find everything over there. Like you mentioned, you got the Yonkers, South Yonkers, you know, the hood. But then if you go further up, you got the White Plains and the Peak Skills and all that.
I feel like there's nothing really I could tell an outsider about Westchester. I'd rather tell people from Westchester there's life and opportunities outside of Westchester.
That's big.
You know, you got to travel and you got to network and you got to pop out and show people in order to make it if you're creative in Westchester County.
Nice. Real quick, if somebody was coming to Yonkers for the first time, what restaurant would you send them to?
That's a hard one. What are you looking for? Damn.
It doesn't have to be anything bougie. It could be bougie. It could be a pizza spot, but just something that you know when they come there is gonna be, they're gonna go away saying that was good.
Okay, pizza spot. There's
Yonkers
a
Brewery.
pizza spot. Yonkers Brewery. Get yourself a drink, but there's a pizza spot on two pizza spot. One of them is Singus next to the train station. I rock with Singus on Dock Street, and the other one is Bella Rosa on Nepperhan. The folks that own it, Italian folks, pizza is wonderful. The hospitality is wonderful. So definitely Bella Rosa and Singus.
And Rye, New York.
Rye, you know, if you go to Rye, I don't really get restaurants in Rye, but there's Jerry's Deli. It's one of the oldest delis in Rye. It's family owned, and whatever you want to get, they're gonna make it for you. Shout out to Jimmy Byrne, man. Order the Philly cheesesteak.
Nice.
Yeah.
So in closing, how can people reach out to you, Angelo, if they want to be part of the Polymaf whole entire network, if they want to present their podcast to you, if they need editing, if they need recording, camera recording, whatever? How do they reach out to you?
There's multiple ways you can reach out to me. Instagram, you could DM me. www.polymafnetwork.com. You go to the contact section. You can fill out a whole form to pitch your podcast. If you want to be part of it, you know, if you need help getting your podcast out there or staying consistent, I'm down to help. I'm at an affordable rate, and I just want to see people win. I like to see people chase their dreams.
Nice. And E-Man, say your Instagram once again.
Mixed by E-Man Music. That's music with a K. If you need any recording time, mixing, mastering services, we got you. And as Angelo said, podcast information, hit up Angelo at, was it Polymaf?
Polymafnetwork.com.
There we go.
Nice. And there we go, baby.
Live show.
Thank you guys for coming to the program. All right, and I'm sure I'll be hearing from you guys real soon.
Appreciate
March 21st, guys. See you there.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Yonkers Brewery. It's DJ Sus One.